to Jimmy the Latch, but when we finally opened it, we discovered a typewriter, dusty and with a broken letter cut. The typewriter, even the Yiddish typewriter, is usually much like the next one. Keys, arms, platen, stiff spools of black paint, all preserved in a generous film of dust and rust. Many of the typewriters in the collection are broken. Yivo has too many to fix them up, and besides, typewriter repairmen can be notoriously fickle. What is the point of keeping and loving these machines? Yivo has too many, but won't part with them, and I didn't use any, though I still desire them. It's something more than just a Luddite mentality that makes us love trash. The crown jewel, such as it is in Yivo's Yiddish typewriter collection, was found in a garbage bag by Eddie Portnoy, Yivo's academic advisor and director of exhibitions. After I saw the typewriter in the main collection, and Stephanie Halpern told me I couldn't have one, even though I asked very politely and didn't try to steal anything, she led me to a rare book room and told me to wait by a table before she lugged over a heavy black case, popped it open, and let me stare at the last lines that the famous writer Chaim Grada ever wrote. Grada died in 1982, leaving behind mountains of books, reams of paper, and among everything, a typewriter that, 41 years later, still holds a yellow, dried-out piece of paper on the lap. It's dramatically torn at the top, and there's 2 or 3 crisp lines of Yiddish text slides, something about wearing a coat on spring day. Did I mention I don't speak Yiddish? As last words go, it perhaps leaves something to be desired. When Eddie Portnoy found the typewriter, he didn't dare move the paper to read what was blocked by the alignment guide, even though he has some experience with old typewriters. Seniors have been shoving the machines into his hands for some years as they clear out their homes of ancient items they don't want, but don't want destroyed. It's like the end of a culture, he said. Shameless, sacred trash. A yahrzeit typewriter, to remember a time when Yiddish was the culture, and the culture was material, graspable, brittle, and able to tear.
That was chilling. It was beautiful. It was really back. All right. Our next performer could not decide on his introduction at all. He loves Diet Coke, maybe. He can talk about himself forever, but is not going to. He has a Poetry Slam experience dating back all the way to December 2023. Slam Pogs, which is very niche. Millennials will get it, according to the citation here. His experience in his college dramatics society, ran a college radio station, and doesn't say which one, so maybe the college goes. Anyway, that's funny. Yaakov Mara.
I am going to talk about myself, just not forever. I don't like mustard, and that's okay. Or not. Honestly, it kind of sucks. I wish I liked mustard. My life would be so much better. My palate widened. Even the food that I do eat, hot dogs, pretzels, corned beef, it's like I get 90% of the experience. But it's not a choice. I don't like mustard, and that's okay. Usually, it's just a me thing. But then I get invited out for Shabbos, and they say, do you have any allergies? And I say, I don't like mustard. And that's actually responses vary. First, you have the people who just don't use mustard, because there are so many things you can make without mustard. And I don't like mustard, and that's okay. Then you have the people who make some things with mustard and some without, and they tell me because they know I don't like mustard, and that's okay. Then you have some people who say, oh, I wanted to make this salad dressing, but I didn't because you don't like mustard, which is a little performative, but thank you. Rarest of all, the people who just ignore it. They simply must use mustard in their dish, and then they're surprised when I don't like it. They'll say, there's so little, I didn't think anyone would notice it. Then why did you use it? Was it so important that you had to ignore that I told you I don't like mustard? Here's the point. Let me tell you what I've never gotten. Let me tell you what has never happened. no one has ever asked me why I don't like mustard. This is a good thing, by the way, because it's a dumb question. And everyone knows it. Like, how would I even answer? And besides, what if I didn't know why? What if I could crack the code, find the exact flavor, the compound that burns my taste buds? I've tried, I really have. But if I knew, would it matter? No, it wouldn't. Because even if I knew why, it's not a choice. It's just something I know about myself. I don't like mustard, and that's okay. But what if it was a choice? What if I just decide to inconvenience myself, to intentionally deny myself a versatile and low-calorie condiment, something that appears everywhere, that I always have to ask about, that hinders my gastronomic satisfaction? If I chose that, would it be any less valid? No, it wouldn't. We all make dumb choices. Who gets to decide what's valid? Okay, but what if it was invalid? What if my choice to dislike mustard was objectively wrong? The kind of thing that people whisper about behind my back and roll their eyes. What then? What then? Nothing. Who cares? I don't like mustard, and that's okay. It really, literally, truly does not affect you. So no one questions it. No one has ever questioned it. They never ask, are you sure you don't like mustard? When did you start not liking mustard? Do you think you could change your mind? Never. Everyone just accepts it. I don't like mustard, and that's okay. It really is. It's not just mustard. There are so many things about me that are just part of me, things I can't explain. I don't like mustard. I do like oatmeal raisin cookies better than chocolate chip. I like cold weather more than hot. I like wordplay and logic puzzles and trivia. I don't like the Dobbin. Surprise. I understand Common Core. Also surprise. I can't sing for the life of me, but I remember lyrics like nobody's business. I have anxiety, acid reflux, and something called malignant hyperthermia. It's not as bad as it sounds. I love to write, but not to read. I like cartoons and pop punk, and I'm divided on reality TV, and I love Taylor Swift! Some of these are preferences, some are choices, some are just facts. But they're all part of me, and that's okay. No, it's not okay. It's great. We all have things like that. Every single person in this room, we all have things that we just like. Things that drive our personalities, our values, our entire lives, and that should be celebrated. This is me, this is you, this is us. But you know what else has never happened? No one has ever said to me, you can't come to this meal because you don't like mustard. No one has ever worried that my dislike of mustard is going to rub off on their kids. No one has ever accused me of flaunting my dislike of mustard. No one has ever said that I was born without a dislike for mustard, so I need to stay that way. No one has ever said to me, I like mustard, so you also have to. When I tell people I don't like mustard, it's no big deal. Heck, I've told you I don't like mustard like more than 10 times so far tonight. I'll say it again. I don't like mustard, and that's okay. See? It's easy. Nobody has a problem with it. Anybody? No. But it's not so easy for everybody. Some people need actual courage to speak about themselves. They fear they'll be judged, that when they open up, people will say that it's not okay. That the people they love, their parents, their community leaders, their friends, won't look at them the same way, won't welcome them the same way, won't love them the same way. Even if they can't explain why. Even though it's not a choice. And that even if it was a choice, it would still be valid. And that even if it wasn't valid, it still wouldn't affect anyone but themselves. Look, maybe I don't eat mustard the same way you don't eat meat or keep kosher. Maybe I prefer falling leaves and snow the way you prefer shorts and swimming pools. Maybe I get Common Core like you can read sheet music. Maybe I'm a Swiftie and you support the Buckeyes. But maybe I love the person I want to love. Maybe I'm comfortable in my own body. Maybe I ask people to call me Taz, because that's how I want to be addressed, and they have no problem with that. And maybe you just want the same thing, and that's okay.
That was haunting of you. Thank you. Do you like ketchup? All right. Our next performer is a musician who I have on good authority. Drives maybe a truck, where he's known as the Music Man. He used to play with the Army Band during the Korean War, and he played with several dance and swing bands. And I believe he's going to be playing some snippets from the dance and swing era. I welcome Sidney Zack.
First of all, I'm not from the Taylor Swift era. I'm from the swing band and dance band era. So what I'd like to do here, I'm going to play a few snippets from different tunes, and I'm going to have you tell me what they are. And of course, there's some you may recognize and some you may not. Well, let's see the first one. This one you may not get. That's a song that I played often with a band called the Swing Doctors out of Albany Medical, and it's called Alice Blue Gown. Try this one.
Thank you, Music Man. Our next performer is an award-losing poet from a small town out west with a lifetime prize winnings of $17 and 2 paper clips. He is delighted to provide a sorely needed respite between the comedy stylings yours truly, David Kravitz. Ricky Miller.
How we all doing at Who the Let the Hearts Out? All right. You know, when they first asked me to come here, I said no, because I've been on a string of night shifts, and it's effectively lunchtime for me right now, and that's objectively no time for poetry. But I eventually relented, and I have a very important message for everyone. Hey, my name is Dr. Miller, and I'm here to say, drugs are lame in a big way. Please stop coming to the emergency room. I am very tired. But none of you guys are children, actually. So how about that issue too, huh? Anyway, I did actually prepare something that I'm going to recite for you as soon as I'm joke on my Purdy. Accident big bucks, here we go, okay. We look for the beautiful coast, where peace shall rest our soul, and consolation, our bottomless sorrow cradle, singing the hills. It is widely attributed to Miles Davis that it's not the notes you play, it's the notes you don't play. Thereby establishing the inverse jazz hypothesis, in this essay, I will demonstrate how Henry David Thoreau expressed this principle in its strongest form as, the government is best, which governs not at all, in his commentary on the 1978 studio album Motor Booty Affair by funk band Parliament. The theory holds that, contrary to popular belief, it do in fact mean a thing. In proportion to the swing, it ain't got. The jazz that jazzes the least, perhaps jazzes the most, and the best is none at all. And this is called a catch kind of blue. You are all, in your silence, masters of the craft, unless you meant it that way. Is that supposed to be jazz? Because if it is, then it isn't. And if it isn't, then it is. You are always playing jazz. You are never playing jazz. You are Schrodinger's head cat, bound up in superpositions inside your box that you cannot possibly comprehend, and the flames are shadow-cast objects on the wall. When you escaped Plato's Schrodinger's quantum cat death box, did you look for the beautiful coast? Did peace rest your soul? Did consolation, your bottomless sorrow cradles, sing the hills? My grandfather, in the years after his passing, yet his body still roamed the earth, was a man of few words. Only the smallest fragments of speech could squeeze through the sea of that dementia tore of his mind. There was the glimmer, perhaps, of meaning in his eyes when he would grab your shoulder and loose a string of syllables, unintelligible. But there were three words he could say. Like an old saxophonist taking the stage for one last set, spotlight on his arthritic fingers, cradling the old alto, blowing sweet, long, simple notes. I would watch my grandfather climb to bed after a long day, and the days were long. For he was gone, and to whatever remained of him, the world was a wilderness, and he was a stranger in a strange land. Bolted from the house in confusion, tearing down the sidewalk, when apprehended by the authorities later, there was a recognition in his eyes, and he would say, I love you. The whole ordeal of brushing teeth and donning pajamas, a foreign, godless ritual, but calming, he would look my grandmother in the eyes, and he could say, I love you. And I did not know that then, that three notes make a melody, and how much meaning there is in the silence of sleep, and how much is lost in endless tumbling noise. I saw a painting once in Denmark. There's an art museum at a hospital where the psych patients used to do art therapy. And there's one huge canvas bodiless heads bobbing on lily pads. Against the fourth wall, they vomit up blood that splashes into poorly translated English, and yet the nonsense, to me, booms with meaning. And this, I think, I like about poetry best, that grammar is a prison, and space carries meaning. Silence teems with life, and the fewer notes played, the better. For across the chasm of language, culture, and time, oh, Danish psychiatric patient, I could hear your wordless scream. I could feel your anguished soul. I could see the candle of your hope in the long, dark halls, and its flame warmed my skin when you wrote in a torrent of barfed-up blood. We look for the beautiful coast, where peace shall rest our soul, and consolation on bottomless sorrow and cradles, singing the hills.
Before we have our last act, I just wanted to do a couple of thank yous. Number one, thank you to our fearless leader tonight, David Kravitz. Really appreciate stepping up. And to the Brain Trust, who brought tonight together. To Susie, with running the Mario and Sally, you guys were a kick-butt team, really. I feel so blessed to be able to work with you guys. I've been looking for people to help me make this happen, and to be honest, I had to do very little to make this happen. So thank you guys so much for bringing this together. And now I need to do this last part. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, you didn't make it too hard. Our final act. I'm a writer, a multi-instrumentalist, a cantor, an Olympic biathlete, okay? A 30 under 30 media luminary, and a compulsive storyteller. Our final closing act, Chazan Zev Weinstein.
First of all, I want to say that I have been well and truly hoisted by my own petard. I was deliriously excited to know that Ricky was performing tonight, and crushed to find out the night following him.
You're welcome. Thanks, David. I can do a phone first if you want.
So, much like Akiva, I also don't speak Yiddish, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Der ganze Nacht, wenn uns zu nehmen und nicht verschämen, wenn uns zu nehmen und nicht verschämen. Tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalai, tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalai, tumbalalai, spiel balalai, tumbalalai, freilich soll sein. Meidl, ich will bei den Regen, was kann wachsen im Regen, was kann regnen und mit euch reden, was kann weinen und wegen. Tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalai, tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalai, tumbalalai, spiel balalai, tumbalalai, freilich soll sein. Was darfst du zeigen? schenken, wachsen, wachsen, denken, Liebe kann bringen und nicht aufhören. Ach, Herz kann bringen und tragen. Tumbala, tumbala, tumbala-laika, tumbala, tumbala, tumbala-laika, tumbala-laika, spiel-mala-laika, tumbala-laika, weil du so singst. Balalaika, balalaika, tumbala, tumbala, tumbala-laika, tumbala, tumbala, tumbala-laika, tumbala-laika, spiel balalaika, tumbala-laika. Freilich soll sein.
Thank you to all the artists, thank you to all the slammers, thank you to all the musicians. He's got one more. Encore! All right!
Rabbi, you're making me look good.
This one's called Laurel Hill Cemetery. Can you get the lights even lower? Just turn them off. Yeah,
After that party.
it's great.
Can't.
Thank you. In brown November filled with leaves, my fingers fiddling with my keys, I head home on this darkened eve, coattails flapping in the breeze. Something I cannot quite perceive, between the trees, beyond the trees. A calling, coughing. Thinking I'd sooner be in bed, I took the trail back through the park. Now the sky looms above like lead, the path I'm spooling through the dark. I mutter, this must be in my head. But there, again, like screaming bark. A calling, coughing. If I follow the trail, I'll reach the bridge. My home is on the other shore. But at the darkened Schuylkill's edge, the wind carries the sound once more. I'll be home soon, I softly pledge, but this mystery I can't ignore. This calling, coughing. A break between the trees, a gate, and a burn against the darkening night. A cigarette glow illuminates a face that I don't recognize, with sunken eyes, a pockmarked face. But there it is, my name. He sighs. A calling, coughing. Off of the path, I strain to see the gate's chain fallen to the ground. I search for an abandoned key. There's not a soul for miles around. On the gate, a sign. Cemetery. Beyond the gate, again the sound. A calling, coughing. The gate's unlocked. I should head home. The night is dark, the river foams. A figure stands in rag and bone. The ember burns, again the moan. A haunting, wretched, lonesome tone. He knows my name. We are alone. A calling, coughing. I call out, how did you know me? My heart is leaping in my chest. No answer from cemetery, and so I think the balance to test. I approach, stray into the trees, and try again, same request. Just calling, coughing. His dress is dated, tattered, old. His long coat hanging from his frame. The night sinks slowly into cold. His features flicker with the flame. Curious, I creep forward, bold, and now I see him speak my name. A calling, cawing, coughing. I come closer yet and feel the chill. And from behind me hear a crack. But when I turn, the woods are still. He is at the fence when I turn back. How did he get here down the hill? He whispers now, his jaw is slack. A calling, cawing, coughing. Alarmed, I hold my breath and wait. There's nothing keeping him inside. But still he stands there, grave and gray. His eyes burn, hungrily and wide. Yet somehow it keeps him at bay. I ask his name, he just replies with calling, cawing, coughing. Thinking this must be some trick, I run home. At the bridge I slow. Perhaps the man was somehow sick, but I am content to never know. Then I am shaken to the quick as I hear above rivers flow a calling, cawing, coughing. Through the trees I see it gleam, and up the hill a figure stands. Beyond the trees, as in a dream, I see him taller than a man. He watches me with envy, green. I suddenly can understand his calling, cawing, coughing.
We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty for some time now.
Hang out for a couple minutes. We'll take one more look around the yard, and then we're going to close the event. Thank you for coming.